afternoon, everybody. We had a long day already, and I promise I won't take much of your time. So the topic of my presentation is overview of production planning and production system models, the various production system models being used in the manufacturing area. And Dr. Prakash Karmadkar sir is my research supervisor, and he has been helping me. He has helped me a lot in getting through this. So let's begin with the introduction. What is production planning? If you're familiar with manufacturing, anything and everything like in our day-to-day lives needs to be planned. Same thing follows in manufacturing or most walks of our life. Production planning basically is what we need to do, where, when, how, who does it, and the results that are to be evaluated. In workplace organization, the production stability is of key essence. If you don't have a stable production facility, then you won't be able to meet commitments, and thereby you will start losing customers. In order to have the production stability, you need to have the very popular and common, and it has been followed from ages actually, the 5S and total productive maintenance. What basically 5S is, it's just like our simple, even if you take a simple example at home, you can compare the manufacturing facility or the production facility with the kitchen to keep it simple. Unless and until you have everything in order, you won't be able to cook a good recipe. You need to know what is where and how much of a particular ingredient a recipe needs. Just exactly analogous to it is the manufacturing. Production is not at all a daunting term the way it sounds outside a manufacturing facility. All we need to know is what needs to be produced and what all it takes to produce in terms of resources. So coming to the 5S point, what 5S means is we need to sort everything, sort the clutter, set everything in order, the tools and equipments, keep the place free of clutter, keep it shining and clean, standardize the procedures as to how the particular product, in our own terms, the recipe needs to be made, and continue following the good practices above, that is sustaining the 4S above. Total productive maintenance, that is the more or less inclined towards the machine setup or the machine maintenance department. When we say total productive maintenance, we need to make sure that the machines are in order, everything is being planned. But if the machine breaks down or if it is not taken care properly, then the target or the goal or the product will not be produced, and we will fall upon our commitments. The conventional planning system I have indicated in this. The typical conventional planning system, what we used to do about a decade before, we had planning separately and execution. Somebody would plan today and then roll the schedule, so to speak, on the shop floor, and it will start executing. And this is more or less an open loop system. What planning does and how good the plan is can only be realized once the results or once it's executed. No plan is a good plan until its results are observed. In order to overcome this, now the technology and has picked up really in a fast manner in the last, I guess, 5 to 7 years. Now we are already headed. What I have been discussing is the basic, the core area of what manufacturing is, where we come from, or basically the third generation. Now we are getting into the industry 4 or the fourth generation, which will include all the Internet of Things, Internet of System, robotics, artificial intelligence, and it will be a spaghetti, so to speak, of everything. The conventional system was overcome by what we call advanced planning and scheduling system, which would be an ancestor to, say, the modern day system. In advanced planning and scheduling system, what we had a closed loop system. The corrective action was taken the same time, I mean, with a small delay, observing the results there and then, and taking corrective actions rather than waiting for the results, waiting for their report to come, and then next day it has to be encountered. So there was a lot of time lag, a lot of losses in terms of resources, like the labor resource, the machine utilization resource, the material waiting in the staging area, and waste even at times if it was sitting for a long time and there are certain perishable materials, then that could go also out of hand. So advanced planning and scheduling system, or the ERP system, enterprise resource planning, focused on real-time data availability across the plant to avoid such losses of any of the resources. Basic elements of production planning, whether it's a closed loop system or an open loop system, you have to go through this. First is the planning, the core. Then you get to the routing, the scheduling, dispatch, follow-up, inspection, and corrective action. A straightforward procedure. You just plan what needs to be done. You route it on which path it has to go through, which machines it has to go through to get to its desired shape, so to speak. All the raw materials are being assembled together, processed together. It's like the input, processing, and output. You have a schedule then when it has to be executed, where it goes, when it goes. Once it's ready, inspected, in the work in process inspection, it's ready for the dispatch. You follow up, final inspection or the pre-inspection before dispatch or getting into the warehouse. And if there was an error in the whole process anywhere, it has been corrected there and then with a small time lag. Commonly known to a normal person, these are the following basic production models I've highlighted. It's one-off production. Now, in certain cases, it's not necessary that everything will have a manufacturing facility, like everything. One person can visualize that in the industrial area, oh, where is this factory making the jumbo jets or something? There are certain types of setups where the product is humongous enough, in which the tools and all the machinery and all the equipments and all the labor, the various resources, has to be near the product, not the other way around. Just like in the case of plane, you're building a big plane, you can't have the plane going through a conveyor or anything. You can't have it rolling or in a job shop type. Same thing is with the shipbuilding yard. You will have one-off production where all the resources will come near the final product expected. All these things come definitely with the trade-offs. They have their own advantages and disadvantages. Like we see in the one-off production, material is readily available at one location and there is a minimal movement. It is flexible enough to accommodate any changes because you're right there during the raw material till the final product is being, you're right there in the same place. However, it results in lower utilization of labor and equipment. There's a lot of loitering around, who does what, where, because it is more or less kind of custom nature. Final product definitely becomes expensive because of the nature of model we have chosen. And we are bound to choose this model. High equipment handling cost. Then comes your batch production. Batch production is, in simple words, we call it also the job shop. You have some lathe operators or stamping machines or something like that, where you have the same machine with minimal settings, you can produce a different batch of goods. It could be in integrated circuits or even a paint shop or a simple workshop doing different dyes. Same thing here, advantages and disadvantages, the trade-offs for this type of model. Flexibility is there for allotment of work to equipment and workers. You have specialized workers for particular machines, and then you get the maximum efficiency out of them. Supervisors, allotment, instructors, they all can be done very easily, conveniently, and flexibly. Workers in one section are not affected by the nature of operations carried out in another section. However, the disadvantage is, the biggest disadvantage is inventory categorized as work will be of substantial amount, because now you're working in the job shop. It kind of has no correlation with the other shop which is adjacent to it. The target is given to one shop, it keeps on producing, it works at its maximum efficiency irrespective of what's happening in the other shop. Increase definitely in material handling cost as well, because you have to take, once it is processed in one shop, you have to handle it from one place to the other shop for its next process. Then comes the mass production system, which is more or less very popular and commonly followed and applicable for most products, I would say. You have a conveyor where all the operations are aligned on the conveyor. The product keeps moving and the different operations are carried out, and raw material enters in one phase, and once it is through the conveyor, through the various stages, you have a final product. Coming to the advantages of this, you have better coordination and simple production planning and control, smooth and continuous workflow, products complete at a very fast pace because the lines are balanced and efficiency and everything is also balanced. Disadvantage, however, is changes in the product or process layout become significantly hampered. Once you change a product or particular process, then the entire line gets stuck up. Slowest machine acts as a bottleneck. The speed, the efficiency is governed by the machine or the operation, so to speak, which will be the slowest. The another factor, definitely, like in our day-to-day lives, the production risk portfolio. You have to keep in mind what sort of risk can also arise. You can have the best planning, you can have the best production model setup, but until and unless you know the risk associated with it, nothing would work again. It's like the chain, gear train chain. One of the gear fails, the entire wristwatch will stop. The old types of watches, I mean the analog watch. The entire chain, the entire gear train, the entire team, the entire unit has to work in accordance with each other. So you have to identify the risk. You can have the best place, and if the material doesn't come in time, or if the material that comes at the last minute and which is of not that great quality, and the quality department rejects it, so that will again stop the line and result in losses of all the types of resources, be it machine, man, material. So you identify the risk, you analyze those risks, how the particular risk can impact, you have a backup plan in place. And simplest thing again you can do is you have the risk rating metrics in front of you all the time. The responsible personals, I mean, who are definitely keeping always an eye on these things, the dashboard of the likelihood, like which risk is rare, which risk is unlikely, which is most likely, which is almost certain, and then accordingly have a backup plan in place. Summary about all this modeling and planning is, it still remains a challenge to meet the stringent deadlines and keep up with the promised delivery rates, because there is so much you can do at the end of the day in the traditional planning system. That's where the ERP or the intelligent planning systems and intelligent devices are being utilized more or more, because they're trying to make it less human dependent, so to speak. That's where we are having now this industry 4, where machines are expected to talk to each other, where machines will decide whether we have that particular color and whether we can run that batch, the batch of those cars, because the color is available there. Because the ERP system also, the previous generation, I would say, between the conventional and the industry 4 was the ERP system, which will definitely act as a peripheral to the industry 4. ERP also definitely is as good as the data you enter into it. The simple saying is garbage in is garbage out. If you don't enter the data properly, if you don't enter it on time, it could be crucial to some other departments relevant to that information. And if you key in the wrong information, then again the whole thing will be upside down. To avoid these shortcomings of ERP, and with the advancements in electronics and in latest technologies, the industry 4 is expected to become less human machine interface independent. So these are the following conclusions we can draw. There is a significant impact of production planning and models on the business. Lack of information, definitely it is resulting in the functional disruptions. And some businesses don't follow the formal risk management process. You talk of all the lovely good things. You can have the boardroom, you can have the war room, you can have all those kinds of rooms. But again, until and unless you act, until and unless you are dedicatedly, meticulously working on certain issues, unless you have your eyes peeled on what you're supposed to do, nothing will work. It is very simple, nothing will work. The most intelligent system won't work. And to my observation, which could be a scope for further studies, everything is becoming smart, right from smart homes to smart societies to smart cities to smart industry to smart environment. And I believe the more it is becoming smarter now, the expectation of human is getting more inclined to say, why the machine can do this? Why, even if I didn't enter, what's wrong? The machine should have told me. Everything is becoming smart, but the people operating it now. So that's why education 4 is also coming into picture now. These are some of the references I have used. And that's about it, about the production planning and models. Any questions, comments?
Manoj sir.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Very nice presentation, sir, you have done.
Thank you
You have
very much.
really touched a very important topic. ERP is, in fact, now it's becoming heart of any industry everywhere.
Exactly.
Now I'm in education industry, so here also we do everything through ERP system. Attendance, students attendance, sending paper, taking examination. I mean, this is a very small domain actually. Your industries are of course definitely a lot of critical things you do with the help of ERP. But a very good
Absolutely.
topic that you have mentioned, and it's really going to be the future of the industry. The year we are talking about IA and point 4 technology and so many things. So this is definitely going to really future of future is going to be the future of the industry. And in the I'll just like to mention in the end a very important point you have mentioned about smart everything, right? From smart, we talk about smart classrooms. So
Yes,
everything
that's right.
smart. And I in fact had published a paper on smart hotels.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's relating. I could really relate what you are saying. Very very important topic, sir. Congratulations. Very nicely presented,
Thank you,
Manoj sir.
sir. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, you know what? Just for your knowledge, if you are
Yes, sir.
interested, I would just add one more thing
Yes,
out of
sir.
this presentation. Now, what's happening in Industry 4? It
Yes, sir.
was been, if you observe minutely, this was already been adopted by oil and gas industries, where the human reach is itself is impossible, where you have liquids flowing, where you have oils flowing at higher temperatures, even in the milk dairy plants. This has been followed religiously and from the ancient times, because human reach was not possible. All you have is a big massive gigantic control room where you have the operators, engineers, senior engineers. All they do is just they're sitting in the control room, which is sort of cockpit of the airplane, your Boeing, lovely Boeing.
Right, right.
You just work on the signals, you just work on the feedback you get from various sensors, various valves operating, and the flow, everything, big tanks, and they're placed in several kilometers area. Even the dairy plant, you can, if you have seen some videos and all, everything has been done right from one room, which is a control room similar to a cockpit of the Boeing. The
Right, 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 sir. Absolutely right. True, true.
Thank you, sir.